Hi, my name is Jim Schneider. I'm the Executive Director for the College Area Economic Development Corporation, popularly known as the College Area Business District. The presentation you're about to see is an introduction to San Diego's college area and the current and future investment opportunities in the commercial corridor. Over the last 2 years, our organization has developed a vision of the future for the commercial corridor. What we envision is an integrated community with physical and emotional connections between the university, the neighborhoods, and the commercial corridor. These connections begin by attracting mixed-use development that will address the city's climate action plan, housing crisis, and transportation plan. In our vision, the street-level floors of these mixed-use developments can include light manufacturing, research and development labs, and co-working spaces. These non-traditional uses will work seamlessly with the university, offering students internships while they're in school and higher-paying jobs once they graduate. In the long run, we will continue to work with local governments to change the transportation patterns. We hope to incorporate complete streets, which will offer a more pedestrian-friendly and bike-friendly experience. Included in this plan, we must slow and reduce the vehicular traffic throughout our community, changing the patterns from going through the college area to coming to the college area. The return on your development investment will yield benefits to the economy and to the quality of life to all who work, play, and live in the college area. In recent years, San Diego State has invested heavily in their physical and academic areas of their campus. These investments have transformed the university from being a commuter school to being a world-class university. They attract research dollars and world-class faculty. Our organization has invited SLP Urban Planning to create this presentation for you. You will be introduced to the SLP Urban Planning team led by Stacy Pennington, and they include Chloe Lauer and Ron Troiano. Together, they will paint the picture of the past, present, and future of the college area commercial corridor. In the end, we hope to entice you to bring your viable business or development ideas to the commercial corridor. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Jim. My name's Stacy Pennington, founder and president of SLP Urban Planning. I grew up in San Diego, and after pursuing my master's in urban planning at the Harvard Graduate School of Design, I decided to start my own firm in 2006. Since then, we've had the chance to do a lot of exciting work both in San Diego and in other regions.
And I'm Ron Troiano. I'm the Director of Strategic Activation with SLP Urban Planning. I've been in San Diego for about 25 years, actually a graduate of San Diego State University. While I was there, I had the great opportunity to run the Daily Aztec, the school newspaper, while studying business with a focus on marketing. Through my career in San Diego, I've worked on numerous projects that touch on activation, also in the food and beverage industry, worked in different neighborhoods downtown, at the waterfront, also in North County quite a bit as well. So have quite a bit of experience activating different realms of our county, and really look forward to working in this area once again, returning to the college area.
And I'm Chloe Lauer, the Director of Special Projects for SLP Urban Planning. Having met Stacy over 15 years ago, where I also studied at the Harvard Graduate School of Design with a master's in urban planning, I actually spent most of my career in San Francisco, leading the strategy group of an architecture company. In the last few years, I've relocated to San Diego, where I contribute my experience with data analytics to help inform human-centered design on the College Area Business District project and others with SLP Urban Planning.
Thanks for touching on the big picture and longer-term vision, Jim. Our presentation begins with some history and context of the site. We then focus on the near term and propose a framework for sparking investment and catalyzing activation over the next few years. Again, we're happy to present to you this PowerPoint, the College Area Community Plan Update Strategy and Locate Here campaign. Let's start with a vision for the future. Looking ahead, there is very strong alignment to achieve the following: to update the community plan to integrate commercial, residential, and SDSU perspectives, to overhaul the streetscape to accommodate mobility, access, in the public realm, and to attract major developments and viable business investments. Our team begins this effort with an understanding of the context and the history.
Yes, so before we get into how we're going to achieve this strong vision for the future, let's review how College Area became what it is today. So the story begins about a century ago when the San Diego street grid reached as far east as what would become College Area. A few years later, what was then the normal school, a training school for teachers, purchased land for a new campus on Montezuma Mesa at Montezuma and College Avenue. That small teaching college would later become San Diego State College and eventually San Diego State University, which is today a mega university with over 35,000 students annually. Over the last 100 years, the university has invested heavily in its infrastructure and built environment. Since the late 90s, with the Viejas Arena, a new pedestrian bridge, new student union, engineering complex, and many residence halls, the university has continued to develop and enhance that environment. However, the rest of the area around the university has not actually changed very much since the post-World War II housing boom that was fueled by the completion of Interstate 8, which brought development further east from San Diego. In the 60s, community planning efforts began. And since then, the principal commercial corridor, El Cajon Boulevard, has remained fairly stable in terms of its character as a car-oriented thoroughfare that connects San Diego to East County. It has strip mall commercial, typically one story, along with the orientation. So what we're hoping to do is share with you now a little bit more about what the neighborhood is like today. It's not what you might expect. It's not a sea of 18-year-olds and undergraduates. In fact, the area is home to 21,000 residents whose median age is 30. 40% of the families have kids with children under 18 years of age. And so that single family residential character and the university have evolved to have a complementary and synergistic relationship over time. Something else that's happening is the seeds of interest in redevelopment. So the principal commercial corridor, El Cajon Boulevard, is seeing redevelopment pressure coming from both the west through University Heights and Normal Heights and from the east in La Mesa. A local developer said it's not quite on the radar yet, but it would be if it felt better. What are we seeing? Dense redevelopment happening around the university itself, with many housing projects planned or underway, including a planned hotel and also recently completed projects. And we're wanting to see that energy move down College Avenue and onto El Cajon Boulevard and aim for a critical mass of interest so that tomorrow, College Area can be the strategic central location positioned between the major redevelopment happening in Mission Valley at SDSU West and the emerging redevelopment happening with more elegant and sophisticated projects coming into La Mesa. And as a collective and with the College Area Business District, we strongly believe that College Area is the future of this redevelopment. And so to that end, we're very excited for the timing of the community plan update, that all of this energy is coalescing among multiple stakeholder groups for this 5-year community plan process. And we're just at the beginning. And so now is the right time to bring all of the voices together and to centralize the energy around this strategic triangle of Montezuma, College Avenue, and El Cajon Boulevard, so that this can be a very vibrant mixed-use college town that enhances both the local residential fabric as well as the university. And so how are we going to get there? Well, we're going to start with strategic activation that can be the spark and catalyst to drive development, and also an opportunity for ways for the multiple communities to connect and collaborate. And so our hypothesis and our recommendation would be to seed interim activations midway along College Avenue between Montezuma and El Cajon Boulevard, so that we can draw people further south from SDSU and start to gather energy moving toward El Cajon Boulevard. Right now, in speaking in interviews with staff, faculty, and students, many of them don't really leave the university area. And actually, this length is quite a long distance for a pedestrian to traverse. So if we brought something interesting to the center, it would start to bring that energy and interest further south. And so in phase 2, we would extend that intentionally with additional interim activations, both going north and south, to provide that continuity and gradually increase the emotional and physical connectivity. Then the third phase would be to activate the corner of El Cajon Boulevard and Montezuma Road over here and kind of create a bookend and an anchor on that side before moving that energy west along both of these corridors with street art, linear parks, sculptures, and more, and allowing the unique character of each street to shine and to evolve naturally. In phases 5 and 6, we would gather all of that energy that had been built over time at those 100% corners that define the area of College and Montezuma and College and El Cajon, which would solidify the character of this central college area triangle.
Many of the observations made that Chloe just walked us through are similar to the circumstances of when our team, together with many others, first were involved in the Upper East Village area of downtown San Diego. And by centering ourselves in the belief system that the future is really ours to create, it's exciting to understand that together we can all help write the story for the college area of tomorrow through these layers of strategic activation and placemaking and community engagement. There are so many opportunities to move the needle.
Thank you, Stacy. So what we're doing, the College Area Business District, along with the support of SLP Urban Planning, has walked through a very specific strategic activation planning process that's highlighted in this next diagram. We've started, as Chloe outlined, with perception auditing and a planning analysis, developed an informed approach, looked at the existing strengths, created a nimble strategy with those strengths and inputs from the stakeholders and adjacent organizations, pressures that are happening from development, things that are going on with the university at their SDSU West campus, the history around the college area, combined all that to a nimble, near-term strategy that leads to a thoughtful design and activation positioning campaign. And currently, this moment is the beginning of the outreach to the investment community that will drive the future of the College Area Business District. This moment is the spark and catalyst for the future, and it'll focus on development, high-density housing along El Cajon Boulevard, rather than in the single-family residence surrounding the college area, could be the focus for the future of this district. Along El Cajon Boulevard, there's opportunities to increase the density of residents and thus create a community and a culture that inherently provides customers for those businesses and supports the local and regional businesses along El Cajon Boulevard by focusing the density in the multifamily, workforce housing, and student housing along that corridor. The second principle we're suggesting is curating those businesses to the type of businesses that work along with the partners in that business district. The university is one that can drive with innovation. There's also quite an upstart of locally owned entrepreneurial type businesses along El Cajon Boulevard in the college area that can continue to be fostered and drive demand and density in that district. And furthermore, if the focus is shifted to a highly curated food and hospitality culture, it'll draw in interest from outside of the business district in the adjacent neighborhoods that are already seeing a swell in demand for their businesses, as well as the increased density. North Park is a great example of this. The demand pressures coming from La Mesa and through City Heights will also be indicators of the success of this strategy. Furthermore, there's the idea around the college area, the perception of what people think this area is and can be. And if there's an intentional evolution of the ethos and an identity for the college area, this can be pivotal, shifting perceptions to a very positive, aspirational disposition for the area. In our work in St. Louis, we worked with two different districts. One was a innovation district, one was a arts and culture district that were separated by about a mile along a corridor called Sarah Street. And we worked with the municipalities and development partners to create a culture there around a brand identity. And in the example you see here on the screen in the lower left, you have what was a vacant gas station that had a legacy sign that, working with our creatives, developed into an indicator for what the happenings were in the cultural district and what the happenings were in the innovation district. And by bridging that 1 mile stretch, we united those communities and created a catalyst for the future development of that area, which is currently underway with multifamily housing and new businesses developing along the Sarah Street corridor. We feel strongly that this initiative is going to be successful for the College Area Business District as well. And that can evolve into connecting the hubs. As Chloe outlined on the map, those different points in the triangle are truly the hubs of this district. And by influencing the businesses that go in around those hubs and connecting them through perception, branding, and activation with the pillars of the views, because you have a very interesting topography here. There's an element of nature, and then the urban context that has happened and developed over the years. You have some great pillars to build upon there. And through placemaking along those corridors and at those hubs, the connection will become omnipresent and the future can be embraced. Further on connecting the conditions, as I mentioned, the topography and canyons are an asset. Currently, they're a barrier to connecting these hubs, but through placemaking, they can become huge assets for the community, views for the residents to take in and communicate to the others that are coming in to visit the area. Taking the transit corridor of El Cajon Boulevard and influencing the type of mobility that happens along that is a big undertaking, but it can be done in small ways that really bring those communities into the college area, whereas perhaps they haven't been so far before. And embracing the single family residential character in this area along the lines of what the community plan has indicated in the past and up until now, embraces the idea of what fabric is existing and focuses the densification along El Cajon Boulevard to realize the customer base that the business district really needs. So what can you do? Well, collectively, we can set the stage for increasing density, influencing connectivity, and building a brand identity for this area. While the goals of the college area's future are familiar, the strategic activation approach is new, and the time is right to invest in the future of this pivotal part of San Diego. The community plan update speaks about leaving the single-family character around the commercial corridors and focusing the density and development along El Cajon, Montezuma, and other commercial corridors to form the triangle that we've illustrated in earlier parts of the presentation. You're feeling development pressures from the west along the City Heights corridor and from the east in La Mesa. And all of it is going to focus eventually on the college area. So now is the time. Seed the growth, focus on the nodes, and influence the future. There's a number of ways that current business owners, property owners, and developers can get involved. In our experience in the past, we've helped initiate by building a strong buy-in from the community through activation, whether that's through a mural park and a vacant lot, eventually becoming an event center and community gathering place. All of this comes together to catalyze development for a commercial area and influence the future in a positive way. And so property owners, business owners, and developers that are currently engaged in the area can get involved by telling their stories, activating spaces around their property or on their property, and pulling funding sources together as well, all through the College Area Business District. For those not quite involved in the area yet, the prospective business owners, property owners, or developers, there's many ways to get involved that are similar to the current stakeholders, but there's others. You can support policy. You can study the market and see what opportunities really exist and drive towards the future. And then most importantly, you can activate with the College Area Business District.
Thank you, Chloe and Ron. We hope this presentation has helped to describe the exciting opportunities to get involved and shape the future of the College Area Business District. On behalf of SLP Urban Planning, it has been a great pleasure to work with Jim and Ed.